This call is now being recorded.
All right, guys, you're welcome again to another exciting moment here on the channel. And today we're going to be discussing 10 possible NNPC interview questions. Of course, I want to say congratulations to those of you who have made it to the final rounds. And those of you who are also applying for other organizations, this interview section is really going to help you scale through. So here with me is Mr. Isaac. Mr. Isaac, can say hi to them. Yeah, Mr. Isaac, are you still on the call? Yeah, I think I can't hear you. Can you hear me, Mr. Isaac?
So I can hear you very clearly.
Okay, yeah, I was saying you should say hi to them.
Oh, I think there was a break there. I couldn't get that. Hello, everyone. Compliment of the season.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Isaac. So we're going to be discussing 10 possible interview questions. This is specifically going to be for the NNPC company. So we're going to start the section with question one. And of course, my research so far, I can deduce that the NNPC is not going to ask you so much questions. Yeah, I think the question is going to be in three structures. The first one is going to be question about yourself, what you've achieved. And the second question is going to be about the NNPC themselves, like talking about the HSE, which is the health, safety, and environment, and asking you questions on their goals and visions. And the last one is going to be questions about your field, your course of study, how you can use it to enhance their productivity. So that is pretty much what I have deduced from my research in the NNPC interview questions. So today's question will be covering the questions about yourself and how your specialty, what your field of study, how you can use it to enhance the NNPC productivity. Like that. So we're going to, without further ado, we're going to start with the very first question, usually the first interview question in any organization, which is tell us about yourself. So Mr. Isaac will be anchoring most of all the questions here, telling us how to answer these questions in his best opinion. So of course, you can also do your research to add to what he will be showing us today. So Mr. Isaac, are you ready?
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you
Mr.
so
Isaac, are
much,
you ready?
Mr. Chief. Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear. I can hear you, sir.
I believe, okay, I believe I'm audible. All
Yeah,
right.
very clear.
Thank you once again, everyone. I understand that interview sessions are some of the most tense moments for anybody who is seeking for a job position, especially when you have these high hopes and you're going to a very big organization. You know that the expectation is high, and you don't want to, ruin your chances, and you want to make sure you secure your spot. And not just that, you're also there with many other people who are seeking the same job position. So you want to put your best foot out. But then we all know that tension is not a very good condition for anyone, especially when you want to speak. If you're tense, even the things you know will become difficult for you to recall. So sessions like this are to prepare us again and again and again so that we are not just fully prepared, but we are confident enough. Once you have that confidence, your tension kind of reduces, and the anxiety too will be lowered. Um, the questions we're going to discuss here are very familiar questions that I believe most of you have seen over and over again. For some of you, you've even conducted interviews yourself. But then when you're sitting as the interviewer, it's different when you're the interviewee. And the basic rule is that be confident. Confidence will come only if you're prepared enough. So if I were you, the first thing I want to do is to find out about the company itself. When was this company established? Um, who is the leader of this company? And then what are the goals, the mission, and the vision of this company? So I believe you must have done that by now, but just a quick one to help us again, just in case um, some people have not done that already. The NNPC was established on 1st April 1997 as a measure of the Nigerian National Oil Corporation and the Federal Ministry of Petroleum and Energy Resources. Now, NNPC by law manages the joint venture between the Nigerian federal government and a number of foreign multinational corporations. Some of them are the Chevron and so on. And through this cooperation with these companies, the Nigerian government conducts petroleum exploration and production. Now, that is about the history of the company. What about the vision? The vision of the company, NNPC, is to be dynamic global energy company of choice. Now, their mission reads, to be reliably delivering energy while continuously creating value for all the stakeholders. Now, what are their values? One is integrity, second is excellence, and the third is sustainability. Their leadership, Mele Carey is the Group Chief Executive Officer of NNPC. That's just about the history or the background of the company, and it's something you all should have at your fingertips so that you don't know. A question like that might just come up. Or in an interview, you don't just want to memorize certain things and then stick to them. Anything could come up. So you want to be fully prepared. If a question like that comes up, you know how to respond. Then the most common interview question that we all are aware of. Tell us about yourself. Now, it's a very straightforward question, but the answer is not always that fixed. It depends on where you're coming from, and then what role you want to play or the role you're seeking in the company. If you're asked to talk about yourself, the temptation is always that you want to say your name and then talk about your maybe educational background, your work, and your achievement, and all of that. It's fine. Of course, that is how it should be. But then the interview panel might not have all the time to sit and be listening to your life story. So you want to be very brief. At the same time, you want to focus on the most important thing. Tell us about yourself. Yes, you can mention your name. And if you want to talk about your education, it should be very brief, and make sure that what you're mentioning relates to the job position you're seeking. After that, if you have worked maybe in one or two places, you might just mention the latest role you had. If you're still working, no problem, you can talk about your current role position. But the focus should be on your achievement, the role you played, and how will that relate to what the current company you're seeking employment at. Let's say in your current role position, you're HR, and then you're seeking to become a HR in NNPC. You're going to say, okay, in my current job position, I work as a HR, I've done this and that as your achievement, and you think that this is going to be relevant in the current job position you're seeking, you would bring in the experience you have and all of that. And we know that this question is going to be different for everybody, depending on your profession, your background, your experience, and maybe your achievement as well. We all don't have the same experiences. The most important thing in any interview is to be honest. If you maybe memorize something and you want to recite like a poem, you just get stuck because once you miss a particular line, you may not know how to connect it again. And maybe you just panic will set in as well, and you just lose track of what you're saying. So make sure that your responses are coming from your heart. If you've not got any work experience, no problem. You talk about your school. There must have been one or two things you did while in school, or maybe after graduation, your NYC, if you did that, your NYC experience, you can put that, and then any other thing you're doing. You can't just be, say, sleeping in a house and doing nothing. Even if you're maybe a full housewife, you go to the market, you buy things, you shop, you take care of the house. There are one or two things you can say as part of your experience that relate to the job position you're seeking. So if a question like this is asked, you have to talk about your experience, the skills you have, and how these skills are relevant to the current role you're seeking. For example, I am a teacher. I'm an English language teacher. So if I'm asked, let's say I am applying to a school as a teacher, a class teacher, and I'm asked to talk about myself, I will say something like this. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. My name is Isaac, and I'm a graduate of English language education. I've been teaching English language for the past 6 years now, and I've taught in different places. My current role now is with social organization, and in the course of my work in this organization, I've been able to expand the organization's activities. Before now, our classes were basically a physical meeting. And when I came in with a collaboration with some of my uh, colleagues and the support from the management, was able to expand the activities from just the physical meeting to uh, online platform, because I noticed that there were many people who would want to come for training, but they were just living in a far distance, and so we had to find a way to reach them. And the online platform was just the best option at the moment. So the management supported me, and of course, with my colleagues, were able to set up the online platform. And so far, the uh, the channels we created online for learning have benefited over 1,000 people in just past 1 year. And with that, our company has been able to reach many people, and of course, the revenue has almost doubled since my coming to the.
Hello, Mr. Isaac, can you still hear
Okay.
me?
Sure, sure. I think our network is a bit unstable.
Okay, okay. I think it's fine. We could hear you to the point where you
Can you hear me
said
now?
the company's revenue has doubled. I think that was
Can you hear me? I can't hear you.
okay.
Um,
Yeah, Mr. Isaac, are you there now?
sure, sure. I can hear you clearly.
Okay, okay, yeah, yeah. We're back.
Good. So the experience I've gathered so far and my ability to always look out for creative ways of solving problem will be beneficial to the current role I'm seeking. And for now, I just want to get another role that will present me with new challenges. And of course, as I use my knowledge and skills to solve these problems, I will also learn new things.
Okay.
Now, let's say that is a response for me. You can relate this to your own field. If you are an engineer, for example, you want to talk about what you've done as, especially you highlight your achievements. What are the achievements and how were you able to achieve these things? Don't be so selfish in your responses, especially when you're talking about achievement in the workplace. Always mention your colleagues and your team members or the management support and all of that. It shows that you are someone who can work with others. And then it also shows that you're not so arrogant or so full of yourself. No, you can't just achieve any great thing all by yourself. And then as you highlight your achievement, also make sure you're highlighting the skills. What skills did you apply? How were you able to achieve that? And then since you want to get a new role now, it means that you want to leave your former place. Why do you want to leave? There might be a question on why you want to leave your much with your um, current company. You'll also want to hint on why you want to leave. And for leaving a new place is that maybe um, you want to seek new challenges and you want to seek new experience, but it has to be in line with your field. So I think something like this will help. If you're asked to talk about yourself, we just have to take note of this. You can mention your name, talk briefly about your qualification or your expertise, and then your experience and the skills you have. As you mention your experience and the skills, highlight the achievements, what you've been able to achieve and how you've been able to achieve that. And then you could say why you're looking for a new opportunity.
Yeah.
I don't know, Mr. Chicks, do you have any other thing to add to that?
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Isaac. That was very insightful. Thank you very much. Just to add to what Mr. Isaac have said, if you've been listening, I think Mr. Isaac have answered most of the questions here on the list. Most of them has been answered. When you are asked to talk about yourself or introduce yourself, the key things you must make sure you are light. You want to talk about your skills, you want to talk about your experience, your educational background, and how it relates to the Nnpc corporation. You want to talk about these things. And lastly, you might even want to talk about what you plan to achieve in the coming years and how it will still affect or how it still enhance the productivity of the Nnpc because they want to hire you into their company, into their corporation. They need you to give them or to show them that thing you've got, that potential you've got that will help them get better. Of course, they want to get better. They want to grow. Of course, so you have to make sure you state all these things. Just like Mr. Isaac have said, they are very key points to tell about yourself. And very importantly, tell us about yourself is the very first question you're going to be asked. And how you answer this question set the tones for the remaining questions that will be asked. So you want to give it your best try. You want to give it your best attempt because that is what will set the pace for every other questions you're going to be asked. And that is clear. That is really clear. So I think we need to go to the next question very briefly. I don't know if we can have all the time to talk about the questions we have here. But let's see. Mr. Isaac, we have another question. It says, tell us one significant thing you did with your time in school. This is the second question, Mr. Isaac.
Okay. Okay. Tell us one significant thing you did with your time in school. Okay, so for a question like this, again, it still varies, depends on uh, who you were in school. But generally, I will say uh, participating in community service, or maybe if you belong to an NGO, I know that some schools have this organizations that you can participate in. It shouldn't just be about your academic work. Everybody knows that if you're in school, you'll be going to lectures and writing exams and doing your assignment. Tell us one significant thing you did with your time in school. Maybe throughout your time in school, you were a member of a particular club and you supported that club, or you build a membership, or you're able to promote the goals or the objective of that club, and to make it more attractive for other students and even to the society. So you can talk about your membership of this club or the activities you participated in this club. We're just talking about the possible questions that will come, but the most important thing is you have to be honest, because if you're speaking from experience, you're able to talk better than say you want to make up something and say. But I believe that for everyone, there must have been one or two things they did in school apart from attending classes and writing exams and doing assignment. It could be sport. Maybe you were very active in sport and you participated in some games, activities, and maybe you won a trophy for your department or your faculty, or even you represented the school as a whole. So it could be that you, apart from going to classes, you're able to use your time to do some sporting activity.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Isaac, for that one. Um, just to add to what Mr. Isaac have said concerning this question we have here on the screen, tell us once your time in school. This kind of question is a storytelling question, and it's not a long story. You don't have to start telling them a long story. The story here should be very creative. Your story here should be very logical. It should be rational. It should have four things. Number one, it should have a situation or a problem. And number two, you should have a tax. And the tax should come with the actions you took to solving that problem. And number three should come with the result. So most people call it the STAR method in answering questions like this. The STAR stands for, the S stands for the situation or the problem. Then the T stands for the task, and the A stands for the action you took, and the R stands for the result. So when you ask kind of question, you want to tell a story, and that story should have these four components. Well, because even most of the employers of labor, they recommend the STAR method. So once you tell them the situation, the challenge, and you tell them the task you took, the actions you took, and the result. So that way you've talked about the significant thing you did with your time in school. Just like Mr. Isaac said, it must not be academics. It could be something outside the school board. Maybe it could be an NGO program like that, community development program, just like that. You just look for what matters the most, what has a relationship with what will how it can improve the NNPC, like what have a connection. Look for those story, that particular story that you can connect with the NNPC goals, and that way I think you stand a better chance to getting that question correctly. So that is that for that particular question. We'll be moving to the next question, and that is question 3. It says, what do you do now and why do you want to leave your current role? Mr. Isaac have talked about this. I don't know, Mr. Isaac, do you still have anything to say about this particular question? Question 3.
Of course, why do you want to leave your current role is a very important question, and is a kind of a sure banker question for most interviews, especially if you mention that you're currently working. They want to know why you want to leave your job position. Now, remember, everything should be, all your responses should be positive. We know that for many people, when you want to leave a particular job position is because you want money, or you think the prospective job you're looking for will pay you better or will afford you the opportunity to live the life you want to live, which is fine. But you don't want to tell the panel that. Why do you want to leave your current job position? Basically, it's because maybe you've done everything you think you could do in that position, and you're looking for a new challenge. So if you ask me a question like that, I might say something like, yeah, I've been working with my current company for the past 2 years now, and I think we have achieved a lot together. But I have some other plans of how we can expand and develop. But my current employer felt like he's comfortable with the achievement we have achieved so far. And I think if I just stay there, I might be wasting my potential, and I just need a new challenging role that will afford me the opportunity to use my skills and my experience to solve new problems. And then as I get new challenges, of course, I'm going to learn new things as well.
This one is great.
So you're not painting your past employer as not being nice or good, but you're simply saying you've done a lot together with this employer, and you think you can do even more, but maybe your current company feel they're just comfortable with the position they are at now, and for you, it's limiting your ability. You need something more challenging, and where you can put in the skills and this experience you require and keep growing. So for that, now it's good to get a new role where you can get the opportunity to grow and learn more.
Wow. That is well said, Mr. Isaac. You still want to say more?
So I think basically that is it. Why do you want to leave your current role? You might say something like that. For now, you've been working with this company for some time, and you have achieved a lot together, but you think there's still room for improvement, but your company is not really moving at the pace you want them to. So you want to go to a place where you will have the room to grow, solve new problems, use your experiences, and then learn as well.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Isaac, for that one. I actually learned a lot from this one you just said right now. And that is where most people get it wrong. They feel like, okay, I'm moving to a new, I'm applying to the NNPC because they are very big company. This is oil sector. This is where Nigeria, this is the hub of Nigeria money. Please, you don't want your employer to get that feeling. That is not it. Mr. Isaac, actually, I love the way you I love the way you handle this question. It's really, really professional. It's really, really professional. And I'm sure a lot of us here are learning these things and taking notes. They are really, really very important questions you don't want to miss. The players is looking out for your response and you want to give them the best. So thank you very much, Mr. Isaac, for that one. We'll be moving right on to the next question. That is question 4. Let's see if we can take all the questions today. We have about 10 of them right here. So let's see if we can cover them. If not, that will be another section. But let's see, let's keep moving. So, Mr. Isaac, this is question 4. It says, how will your friend describe you? How will your friends describe you?
Okay, now this is indirectly asking you what you think about yourself.
Okay.
If you ask me what do you think about yourself, I might be saying all these positive things, all these nice things that I believe I am. But someone else looking at you, or you trying to look at yourself from another person's view, and the best way to find out who you are from the perspective of others is to talk to your friends. you have some nice friends around you who are very open and honest. They can tell you very frankly what they think about you. And that is not to make you, uh, maybe to hype you or to scold you or whatever. It's just a honest assessment of you based on their own experiences. So if you have some nice friends around you, maybe it's good that once in a while you talk to them, let them tell you what they really think about you. But if I'm asked a question like this in a job interview, I want to keep everything positive, not in a very um, how do I overconfident manner, but I know that my friends who are close to me must have seen one or two things that I do well, and that's why they're around me. So you could say something like, I have very good friends, and many of them have been very honest with me based on my relationship with them. And for me, my friends always talk about me being honest and committed. They want to come to me whenever they have a problem because they believe that I can think about whatever problem it is and come up with a very creative way of solving that problem. And I don't always use my sentiments or emotions when making judgment. I'm always logical. So they trust my judgment that I'm going to be fair and unbiased. So what my friends say about me in a nutshell, I would say they think of me as someone reliable, someone trustworthy, and someone who is committed.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. I'm sure we are all learning something from this section. If you're not learning me, I'm actually putting down some things here. So this is the very good way to answer this particular question. This is a very honest way, very clear way to answer this question. So guys, if you still have questions while you're watching and you still have doubt in your mind, do not hesitate to put it down in the comment section. And after now, we're going to review those questions. Possibly, I will send all the questions I see on the comment section to Mr. Isaac. And if you want a one-on-one section with him, it's not usually free. You can tell me on the comment section, and I will see if I can reach out to him on that note. So, guys, you just keep your comments, just keep your questions on the comment section if you have any, and we'll see a way to go over those questions. So, Mr. Isaac, we still have another question for you. This is question 5. It says, tell us about your project topic in school. I wonder why they ask questions like this. Tell us about your project topic in school. So, Mr. Isaac.
Okay, I think this one is interesting too because for many of the applicants, I understand that for some people, or I should say most of the people, the NMPC is taking in for fresh graduate. So they're applying or they're taking them in as graduate trainees. So maybe the idea is that some people might not have gotten enough work experience yet.
Okay.
But then what you did in school can stand in as your experience, and whatever activity you did in school is part of your growth and development and skills acquisition and all of that. So your project is very important. There are in some schools or in some countries, a school project can even uh, bring a breakthrough in a particular field. It might be a scientific discovery. A lot of discoveries that came about through school projects. So your school project is very important. And if you actually invested your time in your school project, you would have learned one or two things yourself. So tell us about your project topic in school. The first thing is, why did you even choose that topic? because you don't just choose a project topic if there is no problem. It means there was a problem you could identify, and then you decided to research on that problem. And in the course of the research, you would have found out one or two things. Then there will be your recommendations. What were the recommendations and how to solve that problem? For example, in my final year, my project topic was on the availability, accessibility, and the usage of electronic devices, like the audio recording and playback electronic devices for secondary school children in learning of English language phonology and phonetics. Now, that is a bit long topic, but
Yeah.
I was interested in that because I realized that most of these children in school, secondary school, especially senior secondary school, at that stage, they are 13, 14, 15, and some of them have mobile phones. They like it, even in schools that will not allow these mobile phones. These students will sneak their phones into the classroom. And what were they doing with these phones? Watching YouTube videos and TikTok and Facebook and all of that. And I just thought about it. What if the school will make these mobile devices like audio recordings and playback devices, the mobile phones and the walkie-talkies and all of those gadgets? What if you make them accessible to these children and you allow them have it in school, but then you kind of direct them on how to use it in a way that it will facilitate their learning of English language? Okay, especially for the oral English, they call it phonology and phonetics, how to pronounce words, the intonation and the accent and all of that. What if you allow these children to use these devices in that way? And I decided to research on that, to take a survey. And I went to about 20 or so secondary schools in Ibadan metropolis, and I solved questionnaires to these children. And surprisingly, many of them said they never used their electronic devices to learn English or to learn at all. What they basically do, because it's not in some schools, the devices were not allowed. So it was illegal to bring them in. If your teachers see them, the teachers will seize these devices. So the student will have to hide. And when they have the opportunity to use these devices, what they want to do was to watch videos, play games, and do some other things that don't relate to learning at all. But then we know that they will always find a way to have these devices. So at the end of the day, my recommendations were that the government should make policies. Instead of banning these students from bringing these devices, they should bring them, but then the school should make accommodation, they should be make the curriculum or whatever work scheme of work, especially in English language, to accommodate these devices. So, for example, classwork and assignment, homework should be given through these devices. The teacher might even record a voice and then tell the student to go and listen to it and transcribe, or I'm going to give you an assignment, but I'm not going to write it on the board. Bring out your devices and record my voice, and you go home, you play back, and you listen to what I said, and you write. Or you can even do your assignment verbally, record it and bring it, and you submit it. That way, these students are going to be using these devices in a positive way to learn. So, if you did a project in school that relates to what you want to do now, that would be very perfect. You can talk about the problem you identified that made you choose the topic and what you were able to find out in the course of the research or in the course of the survey, and the recommendations you gave and how those recommendations are relevant to the position you're seeking now. I don't know if that makes sense. So
Yeah,
you
a
just
lot.
have to relate the project topic to what you're doing now, or what role you're seeking now. But the most important thing is you keep these three things in mind. Why did you choose that topic? What did you find out in the course of the topic? And then
the
how
results.
the recommendations you gave are relevant to what you're seeking to do now.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great one. Thank you very much, Mr. Isaac. Tell us about your project topic in school. I love the way Mr. Isaac answered this question, and the key point here I got from these answers were before you start a project, before you even take up a project, you identify a problem, and that problem, when you identify the problem, what are those things you do? What are the actions you took? So, okay, no problem, sir. Got it. What are the actions you took to mitigate those problems? Those are the things you want to state, and the result that come up after those things you've done. So that's a very clear one. That's a very clear one. Most of you are having problems with what can I say about my project? What do I say about my project? I'm sure this answer will go a long way in helping you, giving them your best answer. All right, Mr. Isaac is very busy, and I think we are going to be closing this section now, and we'll continue another time. But Mr. Isaac, before you leave, this question is not part of what we have here. Like, how many minutes do you think they should answer a particular question? Like, what's the best amount of time and somebody should answer a question? What do you think?
So in an interview session like that, you know that you don't have much time. There are many other
Yeah,
people waiting, and the people who are interviewing you also are human beings. They have to, they might get exhausted. So you don't want to bore them with the long stories. Some questions will just do with 2, 3 sentences. Then there are certain questions that will need detailed explanation. In fact, there are certain questions that as you respond, the panel will keep asking you, probing you further. So if there's a need that you give detailed explanation or you give more information, you can do that. But if not, a question like this, tell us about your topic project. Okay, in my final year, I researched on this, that. And that was because I noticed that there was a gap in this, and I wanted to find out how to solve this problem. And in the course of my conducting the research, I was able to come up with some um, wonderful information. This is what I got. This is what I realized. This is what I got. And at the end of the day, I concluded that this and this and this should be implemented so that such a problem can be solved. No, that shouldn't take you more than, say, a minute or two.
yeah, that's
But
right, sir.
say a question that will ask you to talk about yourself might take you more time than, say, the one that is asking you to why you want to leave a job. So all the questions don't require the same amount of time for
Yeah.
you to respond to them.
All right. Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Isaac. We're going to be closing this section right now, and this is just question 5. We have 5 more to go, so stay connected. Keep your notification up on so that whenever we upload the remaining series, the remaining answers to the other 5 questions, you'll be notified. So thank you very much once again, Mr. Isaac. I appreciate your time, and I would like to have you one more time again. Bye for now.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.